All right, let's dive in. Today we're talking Signal, the app everyone's buzzing about for private messaging.
Yeah, it's really cool. We're using the How to Use Signal guide straight from the Electronic Frontier Foundation, the EFF.
Oh yeah, those guys are like the guardians of the internet, right? Always on the front lines for digital rights.
Exactly. This guide was updated just this March, so we've got the latest and greatest info for you.
Awesome. I'm ready to learn how to keep my conversations truly private. They say Signal doesn't even keep a lot of your data.
Yeah. It's designed for privacy from the ground up,
Yeah.
but it's surprisingly easy to use, too. That's what's so great about it.
So let's break it down for those who haven't tried it yet.
What?
What is Signal and what makes it different from all the other messaging apps out there?
Well, Signal is open source, first off. That means anyone can look at the code, see how it works, make sure there's nothing shady going on.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's like full transparency, huh?
Exactly.
Right.
And it's totally free. You can get it on Android, iOS, even your computer.
Okay, free and open source. I like that. But what about security? What makes Signal so private?
It uses end-to-end encryption.
Encryption.
Basically, imagine a lockbox just for your messages.
Mm.
Only you and the person you're talking to have the key.
Ah, so even if someone intercepted the message, they couldn't read it?
Nope, it would just be a jumble of random characters.
So Signal, even the company itself can't see my messages.
Nope. They've designed it so they don't have access. They only store when you created your account and when you last connected. That's about it.
Wow, that's really minimal. So what can you actually send on Signal? Is it just text?
Oh no, it's way more than that. Text, pictures, audio, video messages,
Hmm.
even live calls and group chats. And it's all protected by the same end-to-end encryption.
Okay, I'm convinced. Where do I sign up?
Just grab the app from your App Store, Google Play, or Apple App Store, and you register with your phone number.
My phone number. Isn't that like giving up some privacy right there?
It can be a concern, yeah. But Signal only uses it to verify you and prevent fake accounts. They don't do anything else with it. And there are ways to use secondary numbers for extra privacy if you're really worried.
Interesting. I'll have to look into that. So I've downloaded Signal. What now?
Set a strong PIN, like really strong. That keeps your account safe if someone gets hold of your phone.
Right. A good PIN is essential these days. Anything else I should know about setting things up?
Turn on registration lock. This is key. It means someone would need your PIN to register your number on a new device, so it stops account hijacking.
Double lock on my account. Got it. Now, I keep hearing about usernames on Signal. What's the deal with those?
Usernames are great. They let you connect with people without sharing your phone number, you know.
Oh, I see. Like a more private way to connect. Makes sense. Okay, so I'm all set up and ready to chat. Is it pretty straightforward?
Yeah, it's super intuitive. Starting a conversation or a call is just like other apps. Tap the compose button, choose your contact, and you're good to go.
Okay, but how do I actually know I'm talking to the right person? Like, what about scams or someone intercepting my messages?
That's where safety numbers come in.
Safety numbers, huh?
Think back to the lockbox we talked about. The safety number is like a unique fingerprint for that box.
Oh, I get it. So if the number matches, I know it's the right person and the connection is secure.
Exactly. It's like checking someone's ID. Signal lets you compare the numbers manually or even scan a QR code. Once you're sure, you can mark it as verified and be extra confident.
That's so smart. I love how Signal is thinking of all these different ways to make things more secure. Now, what about group chats? Are those just as private?
Absolutely. Even with tons of people, your group chats are still end-to-end encrypted.
Okay, that's great for keeping things private, but what about managing them? Can anyone just add random people?
Nope. You have total control. You can create groups, add or kick out members, share invite links, and even control who can do what within the group.
So I can be the bouncer for my own Signal group chat.
You got it. Keep things secure and on topic.
I'm already feeling more in control of my digital life. So we've covered the basics. Setup, messages, calls, groups. But I know Signal has a reputation for being like super private. Are there any settings I should check out?
Oh yeah, Signal has a ton of options to really customize your privacy. You can even control who sees your phone number.
Wait, really? So I can choose who can see my number and who can search for me?
Yep. Limit it to your contacts or even hide it from everyone.
That's perfect for avoiding all those spam calls and random messages. What else can I do to lock things down?
Have you ever used disappearing messages?
Oh, yeah, like the digital equivalent of a self-destructing note. Tell me more.
So you can set a timer, and after a certain time, the messages just vanish. A few seconds, a day, A week? It's your choice.
It's like they were never even there. What if I change my mind, though? Can I keep a message?
Sure thing. You can adjust the timer or even turn disappearing messages off for specific chats if you want.
Wow, so many options. Signal really has thought of everything. Now, I've seen they have stories on there too, which seems a little social media-ish. Are those private as well?
Oh yeah, but they do things a little differently. Signal gives you control over who sees your stories. You can share with all your contacts, just specific people, or even only certain group chats.
So I can decide if it's like a public announcement or a private message to my close friends.
Exactly. And you can even disable view receipts, so no one knows you've seen their story.
Ooh, that's handy. Perfect for a little stealthy viewing.
Right. It's all about having options and staying in control of what you share.
I love all these privacy features. It really feels like I'm taking back control of my digital life.
That's what Signal is all about. But we're only scratching the surface here. There are even more security features to explore.
Ooh, more security. That sounds intriguing. But let's pause here for now. I need a minute to absorb all this great information.
Yeah, take your time. Explore the app, play around with the settings, and you'll see how easy it is to tailor Signal to your privacy needs.
Great advice. Be sure to join us for part 2, where we'll dive even deeper into Signal's advanced security features and uncover even more secrets of private communication. Okay, I'm ready to unlock more of Signal's secrets. Last time, we were talking about all the ways Signal helps you protect your privacy. What other security treasures are hidden in this app?
Let's talk about proxy servers. They can be a real lifesaver if you're ever in a place where Signal is blocked.
Right, like in some countries where they have internet restrictions, how do these proxy servers actually work?
Well, imagine you're trying to send a letter, but there's like a roadblock on the way. A proxy server is kind of like a detour. Your Signal traffic goes through a different server, usually run by volunteers, and that lets you get around the block.
So it's like my messages are taking a scenic route to get where they need to go, but doesn't that mean someone else could see them along the way?
That's where the end-to-end encryption comes in. Your messages stay scrambled, even when using a proxy. Only you and the person you're talking to have the key to unlock them.
That makes sense. But using a proxy server means I'm trusting a third party, right? How do I know they're not going to do something shady with my data?
You're right to be cautious. Choosing a trustworthy proxy provider is super important. Their server will be able to see your IP address. So you want to make sure they're reputable and, really committed to protecting user privacy. It takes a bit of research. Look for recommendations from trusted sources like within the privacy community.
Okay, it sounds like finding a good proxy is a bit of a quest, but I guess it's worth it if it keeps my communication safe. Now, what about calls? We talked about messages, but are those protected in the same way?
Absolutely. Signal calls are end-to-end encrypted too, right out of the box. But there's even an extra layer of security you can add.
Ooh, I'm all ears. Tell me about it.
It's called always relay calls. Usually Signal calls go directly between you and the other person, which means your IP address could be exposed.
Oh, so if I was talking to someone I didn't totally trust, that could be a problem.
Right. But with always relay calls, your call goes through Signal's server, which hides your IP address from the other person. It's like an extra layer of anonymity.
That's amazing, but I'm guessing there's a catch.
Well, it can sometimes affect the call quality a little. Routing calls through a server can add a tiny bit of lag or some static.
So it's like a trade-off between perfect sound quality and keeping my identity totally secret. I think I can handle a little bit of static for the sake of privacy. What else can I do to boost my security on Signal?
We touched on custom keyboards earlier. They can be fun, but they can also be a privacy risk. Some of them track what you type.
Oh, I didn't think about that. It seems like such a small thing, a keyboard. So what can I do about it?
Signal actually has a setting on Android called Incognito Keyboard.
Incognito keyboard. Is that like browsing the internet incognito, but for my keyboard?
That's a good way to think about it.
Yeah.
It basically disables any potentially risky keyboard features while you're using Signal, so it helps minimize data collection. It's not a foolproof solution, but it adds another layer of protection.
I'll definitely turn that on. It's also a good reminder to check the keyboards I have installed. If I'm not using it, I should probably just get rid of it, right?
Exactly. It's all about being aware of what you have on your phone and minimizing your digital footprint. Every little bit helps.
So we've talked about proxy servers, call relaying, incognito keyboards, all these different security features. What's the connection between them all? What's the big idea behind them?
I think they all show how committed Signal is to giving you control over your data and your identity online.
It's like Signal is giving you the tools to build your own privacy fortress.
I like that. And you don't need to be a tech expert to use them. That's what's so great about Signal. It makes privacy accessible to everyone.
Love it. But even with the best tools, technology isn't perfect. Are there any things we should be aware of, even when using a secure app like Signal?
You're right. No system is foolproof. Signal does a great job of protecting your conversations, but it can't control what happens outside the app.
So even if my messages are encrypted, someone could still, like, take a screenshot or tell someone what I said.
Exactly. There's always a human element that technology can't completely solve. So it's important to be mindful of who you trust and what you're sharing, even in a secure environment.
That's a really good point. Okay, so besides that, are there any other limitations of Signal we should be aware of?
Well, one thing to keep in mind is that Signal still needs your phone number to get started.
Right, we talked about that earlier.
Yeah. And for some people, that can be a barrier, especially if they're really concerned about privacy or if they live in a place where getting a SIM card is tricky.
So it's kind of like choosing between being easy to reach and being completely anonymous.
Right. And there are ways to use Signal without your real phone number, but it usually takes a bit more effort.
Makes sense. Anything else we should cover?
One more thing. Signal, like any app, has to follow the laws of the countries where it operates. So sometimes they might have to comply with government requests for data.
Even though they collect so little.
Yeah, it's a complicated issue. There's always this balance between privacy and law enforcement. But even in those situations, Signal's strong encryption and their policy of keeping minimal data offers a lot more protection than most other messaging apps.
That is reassuring to hear. I feel like we've uncovered so much in this part. We've learned about advanced security features, the importance of choosing the right proxy servers, and even the limits of the technology itself.
And I hope we've shown you how important it is to be an informed user, to understand how things work and make choices that align with your values.
Absolutely. Signal gives you the tools, but it's up to you to use them in a way that makes you feel safe and secure.
Right. It's all about taking control of your own digital security and privacy.
Well said. Before we move on, I want to take a moment to reflect on the bigger picture. We've talked about how to use Signal, but now I want to know why this all matters. Why should anyone care about secure communication?
That's the core question, isn't it? In a world where our data is constantly being collected, it's easy to feel like privacy is just gone.
Yeah, I get that feeling sometimes. Like, what's the point?
Right. But Signal shows us that we do have a choice. We can communicate in a way that respects our privacy and gives us back some control.
So it's not just about hiding things. It's about having the freedom to talk without being monitored.
Exactly. It's
Okay.
about protecting our everyday conversations, our relationships, our thoughts, our ideas. These are things that should be shared on our terms, not be subject to surveillance.
It's like having a private space where I can be myself without feeling like I'm being watched.
That's a great way to put it.
Mm.
But often people think that secure messaging is just for, like, activists or whistleblowers or something. But it's for everyone. Think about it. Would you want a stranger listening in on your phone calls or reading your text messages?
No way.
Right. Secure messaging gives us that same kind of privacy online.
That makes so much sense. It's like having a soundproof room in a noisy world.
Exactly. And, when we know we're being watched, we change our behavior, we avoid certain topics, we hold back, and that limits our freedom of expression.
Wow, that's a really good point. So secure communication isn't just about keeping secrets. It's about protecting our freedom to communicate openly and honestly.
I completely agree. And in a world where everything we do online is used to track us and put us in boxes, it's more important than ever to have spaces where we can break free from that and just be ourselves.
So Signal is like a tool for taking back control, for pushing back against all that data collection. But what about the argument that if you're not doing anything wrong, you have nothing to hide?
That old chestnut.
Oh.
But it totally misses the point. Privacy isn't about hiding bad things. It's about having the right to control your own information.
Yeah, it's like saying, if you don't mind me putting cameras in your house, you must not be doing anything wrong.
Exactly. That's absurd. Everyone has things they want to keep private, whether it's personal conversations, health information, or just their own thoughts and feelings. Privacy is a fundamental human right.
I think we've made a strong case for why everyone should care about this, but what does it all actually mean for our listeners?
It means you have options. You can choose to use tools that respect your privacy and give you control over your data. Signal is a great place to start, but it's not the only answer.
Right, it's not like a magic solution. We still need to be smart online, use strong passwords, all that good stuff. But incorporating Signal into your digital life is a huge step in the right direction.
It's like saying, I value my privacy, and I'm willing to do something about it.
And it encourages other people to do the same. The more people use tools like Signal, the more we make privacy the norm.
Exactly. It's about creating a culture of privacy where everyone respects each other's digital boundaries.
I love that idea. A world where we can communicate freely, securely, and honestly. So, to wrap up this part of our deep dive into Signal, what's the main thing you want our listeners to remember?
Remember that privacy is important. It's not a luxury. It's essential. And it's something we need to fight for, both individually and collectively. Signal is a powerful tool in that fight, but it's up to all of us to use it wisely and to demand better privacy protections from the companies and governments that collect our data.
Absolutely. That's a call to action I can get behind. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the world of Signal.
And remember, the quest for privacy doesn't stop here.
Yeah.
Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep fighting for a more private and secure digital world.
Well said. We'll be back soon with another deep dive into a topic you're passionate about. Until then, stay curious, stay safe, and stay private.
All right, we've really gone deep into Signal, haven't we? Features, security, even some of the limitations. But now I want to zoom out a little. Why is secure communication so important? Like, why should anyone care about this stuff?
Yeah, that's the big question, right? It's easy to feel like privacy is just gone, like it's a lost cause with all the data collection going on.
Totally. It can feel kind of overwhelming sometimes. Right. But Signal is like this beacon of hope, you know? It shows us that we do have a choice. We can communicate in a way that respects our privacy.
So it's not just about hiding things. It's about having control over who sees my information.
Exactly. It's about protecting those everyday conversations that make up our lives, our relationships, our thoughts, our ideas. Those shouldn't be up for grabs, you know?
I think a lot of people assume, like, oh, I'm not doing anything shady, so I don't need to worry about privacy. But that's not really the point, is it?
Not at all. Think about it this way. Would you be okay with a stranger listening to your phone calls or reading all your text messages?
Definitely not.
Right. So secure messaging is about giving us that same kind of privacy online. It's like having a private space where you can be yourself without worrying about being watched.
That's a great way to put it. It's like having a soundproof room in a noisy world.
I love that. And, you know, studies have shown that when people feel like they're being watched, they change their behavior.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You start to self-censor.
Exactly. You avoid certain topics, you hold back, and that limits our freedom of expression.
Wow, I never thought about it that way. So it's not just about keeping secrets, it's about protecting our freedom to communicate openly and honestly.
Exactly. And these days, everything we do online is tracked and used to categorize us, to predict our behavior. It's more important than ever to have spaces where we can break free from that and just be ourselves.
Signal feels like a tool for pushing back against all of that. But what about that argument that if you're not doing anything wrong, you have nothing to hide?
Ugh, that one drives me crazy. It completely misses the point. Privacy isn't about hiding bad things. It's about having the right to control your own information.
It's like saying, if you don't mind me putting cameras all over your house, you must not be doing anything wrong.
Right. That's just absurd. We all have things we want to keep private. Our personal conversations, our health information, our thoughts, our feelings. It's a basic human right.
Okay, I think we've made a pretty strong case for why this matters. But what does it all actually mean for our listeners? Like, what can they do?
It means you have options. You can choose to use tools that respect your privacy and give you control. Signal is a fantastic option, but it's not the only answer.
Right. It's not like a magic wand that fixes everything.
Exactly. We still need to be mindful online, use strong passwords, all those things, but using Signal is a big step in the right direction.
It's like saying, I value my privacy and I'm willing to do something about it.
Yes. And the more people use tools like Signal, the more we make privacy the norm.
I love that. A world where everyone respects each other's digital boundaries. What a concept. So as we wrap up this Signal deep dive, what's the one thing you want everyone listening to take away from this?
I want everyone to remember that privacy is important. It's not a luxury. It's essential. And it's something we have to fight for, both on our own and together. Signal is a powerful tool, but it's up to all of us to use it wisely and demand better privacy protections from companies and governments.
Yes. That's a call to action we can all get behind. Thank you so much for taking this deep dive with us.
Of course. And remember, the fight for privacy doesn't end here. Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep pushing for a more private and secure digital world.
Couldn't have said it better myself. That's a wrap on our deep dive into Signal. We'll be back soon with another deep dive into a topic you care about. Until then, stay curious, stay safe, and stay private.